Hey folks, Digger Dies, welcome back to my channel. I don't know what to talk about today. I really don't because I've retaken this video several times. Because the topic I want to talk about, I can't talk about. YouTube has said I can't talk about it without naming people. I can't talk about it. I cannot do that without talking about who they are. So I'm at a quandary. All I'm going to say, someone messaged me yesterday claiming to be someone who they're not, and it's got me all in a tizzy about the problem I'm dealing with. Because now, after I said I was going to walk away and leave it alone, I'm dragged back into it. And all I can say to those people, without naming them, you know what you did. All you got to do is fix it, make it right, and then we can have an open dialogue. But until then, I'm not going to talk about it with you or anyone else. I'm tired of being angry about it. I'm tired of being emotional about it. I'm tired of crying about it. I am done with talking about it. And I'm sorry if that hurts you, but you know who you are. And we all make choices in life. And those choices in life have consequences. And the consequence you are suffering at this moment is not at my hands. It's at your own hands. You did this to yourself. You've cut yourself off from me by doing what you did. And then you expect me to be okay with it. Well, I'm not okay with it. You've hurt me. You've hurt my mother. And I can't just forget about that. And don't sit there and message me back and say, well, we didn't do this, we didn't do that. You know you did it. Face up to it. Turn yourselves in or do whatever you got to do to make this right. Because until then, I am not going to discuss it anymore. I'm going to give you the sign language for quiet. Now, I'm going to move on to something else. I don't know if I've talked about it yet or I don't know. But anyway, I've been watching, what's that called? Justice League Unlimited on Netflix. I've got a few question marks going around in my head because Marvel and DC both have this thing where they have so many alternate timelines going. I can't keep track of who's who. Like an episode I watched today had an African American superhero who back in the 70s was called Black Lightning. Jump forward almost 40 years later, now he's called Demandrius or something along those lines. I'm like, what? They're giving these old characters PC names now. Like Native American superhero. Back in my day, way back in the days of Super Friends, Apache Chief. That was what he was called. I'm part Native American. It doesn't bother me that he's called that, but they had to PC it up. So in the new Justice League Unlimited, what do they call him? Long Shadow. Dumb name. But it gets better. There was an Asian superhero on the Super Friends way back in the day. They called him Samurai. Samurai, however you want to pronounce it. But now he is called Windstorm. Because they don't want to offend anyone. Did you bother to ask those minorities if they was offended by those names at all? Because I don't see anything wrong with them. In fact, I thought they were pretty cool. I like Samurai. I like Apache Chief, Black Lightning, El Dorado, who is Hispanic. In fact, he's the only minor, how should I put this? Minor superhero of a nationality who still has his original name. El Dorado. Not offensive, but here's the kicker about that. So, one of the episodes I watched this morning, they showed a Hispanic woman dressed in what I would call stereotypical Mexican dress. And I thought that was kind of funny because, one, here they've been changing all these other minority characters, changing their names, and yet they give this Mexican girl the most stereotypical look you can find. The most stereotypical dress for this girl. The only thing that was missing was the sombrero. And I laughed at that because I was like, what is DC thinking? Wow. And, you know, it's not just Marvel or DC. Marvel's done it too. Not as bad as DC, but Marvel's done it as well. I think the hardest one for me, and it's not because the person that they changed my favorite character from white to black. And before you jump on the bandwagon and say I'm a racist and all that, that's not what it's about. It was just that it was such a major shift for them to make now Colonel Fury, who was originally Sergeant Fury. They made Sergeant Fury go from white to black. Huh? Couldn't they have at least slowly factored that in? You know, maybe the original Fury got killed during the Vietnam War or something and had a son with an African American woman, and his son ended up becoming colonel of this secret organization that he once headed. It just took me for a loop because it just was such a major shift. I didn't know what to think. And I think it messes up the continuity of the timelines from jumping around so much. And I know they got to keep readers. I mean, you know, not everyone's going to like the Sergeant Fury of the past still heading up a secret organization. I get that. They got to bring something in, a cool factor, you know. And they also they're trying to get more minority readers, you know, better demographics. I mean, I get the whole money-making scheme. And I'm not saying that Marvel and DC are racist either, so don't jump at them either. I don't know. It kind of just threw me through a loop this morning, and I didn't know what to make of it. You know, I didn't really think about it until I seen that this morning because, yeah, with the Sergeant Fury thing, it took me a while to get used to, but this was just out of the blue, you know, and they even changed characters so much that I didn't even recognize them, like the Trickster. I remembered what he looked like from the comic books, and then on the Justice League Unlimited, he looked totally different from what I remembered in the comic books. So I don't know. Maybe it's just me being an old fart and like certain things a certain way, I don't know. And here's something else to think about, okay? Stop for a second. I just now thought about this. If you watch the first Captain America, Sergeant Fury makes an appearance in that movie. Now, in the later, here's where the timeline gets all jagged up. The Sergeant Fury in the first Captain America movie is white. Then the first Avenger movie comes along and bam, he's black. See what I mean? Again, they didn't bother to, continuity. Yeah, I don't know. It just, wow, I didn't even think about that. That's crazy. Well, anyway, folks, it's good to laugh after that serious talk I had earlier. Give this a like. Let me know what you think about it. If you have some advice for me to deal with that person who I can't talk about, let me know, because I have yet to respond to them, and I'm sure they're waiting for a response, and I need to make one soon. I gotta go, folks. My mom's calling. I'll holler at you later. Bye-bye. Hey, Mom.